Before the video starts, I'd like to quickly show you guys that we have a moderate risk of severe weather issued tomorrow. And the word moderate doesn't, I guess, mean much to many. It's moderate. Moderate is often described as something in between. Moderate in terms of severe weather is very high. It's a very high probability of severe weather and something to not be reckoned with. Really, slight, enhanced, moderate if you live anywhere in this area. Tomorrow, July 17th, or today, July 17th, 2020, stay tuned to the radar, stay tuned to your National Weather Service. This is something dangerous. You can see these are the biggest cities. Go to this website, check out what they have to say. Wind is going to be an absolute massive danger. 45% or higher, that's just absolutely, that's basically as high as it gets almost. There's just one criteria over it. So definitely be careful, as it looks as if it's some sort of a derecho may form. That's widespread damage. That's worse than a tornado. So stay safe. Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's video is going to be a episode on the upcoming storm system, that's going to be occurring across a good portion of the northern US, some thunderstorms, some cooler air actually, and just a lot of interesting stuff going on. And I just figured I'd give you an update on the weather. So if you guys like weather related content, consider subscribing. If you guys like any sort of weather, long range forecast, winter forecast, all of that good stuff, consider subscribing to this channel, as this is what it's about. It's all about the weather. If you're a returning fan, liking the video would be extraordinary, so thank you so much for that. Let's look at the GFS model right now. The Global Forecasting System 6-hour average precipitation rate, millimeters per hour. So, I guess the point is here that right now we're in a very warm pattern. The atmosphere is very, I guess, ready, if you will, for any type of disturbance to come along and kick up a powerful area of storms, severe weather, heavy rainfall. I mean, the amount of moisture in the air is pretty extraordinary. Usually the warmer the air mass, especially across the central plains, usually it's not a dry heat. Usually it's a humid type of heat. So, warmer air can contain more water. That's definitely the case. And in this case, storms are going to be developing really torrential downpours. And you can see that right now. There's some rain across the northeast, some across the southwest, into the south. Really nothing significant, if you will. Obviously, if you're going to get under one of the storms, you're going to feel like if it's significant, and that's rightly so, it's going to be. But, it's isolated in nature, so that's good. But notice, we have a system across the southern Canadian plains. Again, it's really across southern Canada that these storms like taking their track across. And it seems like they won't. Sorry about that. It seems like they won't go for any further south than that for some reason. It seems like they're scared of the U.S. Canadian border for some reason, and they definitely. I mean, I don't know. Just look at that. They don't go. We haven't had a storm in a while to go south of that. And you can see this is where it starts forming. We start getting these little bands of rain across North Dakota, South Dakota, and into Minnesota. This could be some pretty severe, I guess, mainly just potent rain of storms, and that could definitely lead to some flooding. You can see it really intensifies, develops a cold front into really late Saturday, early Sunday, and then it kind of continues and really blossoms into a nice big system across Quebec. So much of Quebec and southern Canada, the big cities, Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, could be definitely seeing quite a bit of rain out of that. Really, the U.S. not seeing awfully too much, but definitely kicking up quite a bit of precipitation across Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri, all those plain states, if you will. And then that kind of just dwindles. You can see just some pop-up thunderstorms. But we get another system because of that. Kind of all that remaining precipitation just rushes towards the northeast. But really, let's focus on the first one, and let's go look at the European model, since this is just one of the models. This is the GFS model. So let's take a quick look at the European, since it is arguably sorry about that. That is not where I'm supposed to be. Okay, so it's arguably a bit more accurate. And, there's people that I would say more people prefer the European for sure over the GFS. Whether or not that's justified, well, there's accounts for both that are accurate. GFS has been right many times over the European, as well as the European, though European again is usually the preferred one. Notice that if we look at the European, we see a trailing cold front, and you can see that this is well more, I guess, way more pronounced on the European than it was in the GFS. But what we have is actually a large system, really kind of far to the north. I mean, thousands of miles to the north, if you will. And this cold front is thousands of miles in length, and you can see it stretches into the northeast. So definitely some rain for Friday across the northeast. Mid-Atlantic also seeing some pop-up thunderstorms. But look at that right there. That's our next culprit. Pretty large storm system. We get, those bands of thunderstorms across the Dakotas, the plains into Minnesota, the Northwoods. You can see that tracks into the UP of Michigan, into Wisconsin. Redevelops during the day. You can see it presses down into portions of Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, into even portions of Iowa. They're definitely not out of the question. You can see the storm really wraps up and doesn't really do much to the northeast, which is a bit unfortunate. Fortunate, depends if you want that rain over there. But you could see that basically it kind of leaves a lot of this energy, this loose energy behind, and another system takes advantage of that. But as you can see, this storm system by itself is definitely going to be a bit concerning. Let's look at the precipitation amounts. Again, it's just one storm system, so they're not going to be awfully large, but they're definitely going to be substantial. If we were to look at this, let's go through Monday time frame. You could see that a little bit of precip across Nebraska, Iowa, and into the Missouri area, but mainly up to the north. You could see some areas definitely, I would say, 3 to 4 inches. This air mass again is just absolutely exploding with rainfall, or with precipitation amounts. It's just ridiculous. Notice that parts of the northeast, especially upstate New York, really focusing in on 1 to 2 inches, and in parts of Quebec seeing 2 to 3 to 4 inches of rain pretty in a widespread manner. So I guess that's good news for them, obviously. They've been seeing quite a bit of that, but they've also been seeing very hot temperatures. If I were to show you through the 240 hours, you can see much more rain is on its way, and it's not even just to the north. Well, really mainly to the north. Some in the mountains across the west. That could be a bit dangerous, flash flooding and all that good stuff. Not really, obviously. But notice Peninsula, Florida, we have 2 to 3 inches at the southern tip. Gulf Coast, really just within 100 miles of the Gulf Coast. Further up north, it's dry, and unfortunately, I know many people across Texas are dry, and Oklahoma and Arkansas, and that's very bad. I can't do anything about it. If I wish, if I could, I'll take a little bit of this rain and put it down there, but unfortunately I can't. Hopefully we could see more of an active pattern for you guys, but at this point it doesn't look like if it will be. You could see that mainly it's to the north across Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, also seeing some rain. Not as copious as amounts to the UP, but definitely some rain in the future. And this is 240 hours, so it's really just around 10 days, not even. So it's, even if it doesn't rain in the next 10 days, or, an inch in the next 10 days, it's quite a bit of rain. And not to mention, 4 or 5 inches is just copious amounts. Notice that the northwest also staying dry, which is really not good either. We have quite a bit of heat going on there, if you will. Nevada, Utah staying dry. I guess they're living up to their name, the desert-like places. But, definitely a bit below average in terms of precipitation. Let's look at the European temperature anomalies. You can see the west just stays very very warm, if you will. A few pockets of cooler air across the Midwest, but really just an overall warm pattern for much of the country, and the west including. You can see that's just some nasty temperatures. I want to show you this. Yeah, just look at that European model showing widespread 90s and 80s. Look at that into upstate. That's just really unpleasantly warm, and especially with the amount of precip you'll be getting, that's not good news. I would like to now quickly take you to say the NAM model, a little bit more high resolution. It goes out not that far, but definitely far enough so where we could see this storm system take shape, this weekend one. And notice that I want to tell you that Saturday is going to be an absolutely just berserk day. It's going to be hot, humid, one of the hottest days. It's gonna be the hottest day of the year for us here in Chicago, and you can see this one's even indicating some sort of a swirl here, possibly a damaging wind event. Definitely not out of the possibility, especially with the heat. You can see it weakens as it moves forward, but definitely a threat. And then you can see more of a cold front tries developing right there into Sunday, and definitely quite a bit of precipitation falling with those storms, wherever they do line up, as they are again in a very very warm air mass. So it's definitely not I guess good news. Notice that a moderate risk of thunderstorms is forecast for today or tonight. I'm assuming that is for Friday. Yes, that's for Friday. You can see across the North Dakota area and Minnesota. So again, this is where that derecho could be occurring. Volatile environment for severe thunderstorms, and you can see just warm air. Again, warm air, high dew points, high humidity. So, and especially with that, weak cyclogenesis. So just a little bit of a kick, but that's all it takes to really put this into motion. And again, it's a very small area, but it's definitely there. So stay safe, guys. This is definitely something we don't like to see. A moderate area of thunderstorms is something to be reckoned with, and you can see widespread severe storms likely, long-lived, widespread, intense. So with that, it looks as if there could be quite a bit of damage, unfortunately. So if you are across the North Dakota area, South Dakota, I think it's centered across North Dakota. Yeah, the North Dakota southeastern area into Fargo, kind of that area. Really, just stay safe. This is, the threat for these things are significant. If you look on Saturday, it moves further to the Midwest, Minnesota and Wisconsin, but definitely a more of a threat across tomorrow. You could see wind, definitely. That's why I was saying the damaging wind threat seems the highest. And you can see the wind is probably the highest. Yeah, hail, pretty high, not too bad. Tornadoes, not really much of anything. The hail, the wind is just extraordinary. And you could see that's basically as far as it goes, 45%. That is definitely something that is significant. You can see that the 45% areas, Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, Jamestown. So not overly populated areas, but Fargo, that's probably the largest city here. You can see the 30% St. Cloud, Bismarck. So those are some larger cities now, and then to the 15% we got those, the large cities. Definitely though, not good news. I was actually surprised to see a moderate. That's definitely something to take a notice, and I will be updating you through maybe I'll do a live stream on the severe weather. I might do that, to be honest with you, but definitely you could see that the hail isn't as high, but they are showing 15%, which is significant enough. And this isn't just regular hail, by the way. I should mention that. That was my mistake here. It's 2 inches in diameter or larger. And if you get a 2-inch in diameter hail or larger, you're screwed, in other words. And you can see that the wind gusts are of 50 knots or higher, so probably around 60-65 miles per hour. And that's damaging wind gusts. Those are definitely something severe. So if you live in this area, even if you live in the yellow or the brown, go to this website, CPC, select Storm Prediction Center, CPC, not SPC, sorry, not Climate Prediction Center, Storm Prediction Center, SPC, and just read this through, as this will give you a brief synopsis of what's going on, as I am running out of time to do this. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.